Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy my stories. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you never miss out. Now on with the stories.
I've been hanging around this place for months, reading all the horror stories about homeowners associations and wondering how people ended up stuck with such toxic organizations. But after finally experiencing firsthand just how ridiculous my own HOA was, I decided it was time to take action and join the board. When I got elected, I knew things would be tough. The previous board members were, let's say, set in their ways. They had been doing things a certain way for years, and they didn't take kindly to newcomers like me trying to shake things up. The first meeting was a real eye-opener. We were discussing something mundane like lawn care, when suddenly one of the older members piped up with an excellent idea. Let's organize a walk around the neighborhood, not just any walk, mind you, a snitch walk. Apparently, they wanted us to traipse around our own streets looking for violations, code for any little thing we can nitpick, like someone's trash cans not being perfectly aligned or a window treatment not meeting our arbitrary standards. My jaw dropped as they enthusiastically discussed logistics. Who would bring snacks? Should we create teams? Would we have scorecards? Meanwhile, my brain was screaming, what is wrong with these people? Don't they have better things to do with their lives? Don't they have children or grandchildren or pets or something? I bit my tongue barely, because I knew jumping into full-on critique mode at our very first meeting wouldn't help anyone or anything. After that spectacle ended and we adjourned our little powwow, the remaining members, most pushing 60, hobbled off into retirement mode, boasting about grabbing coffee at Applebee's later. It left me wondering if this whole endeavor had been one giant mistake. Amidst all this chaos, one nagging thought kept running through my head. Was it even possible for us younger folks to somehow right the ship and fix our broken HOA? Can you realistically reform something from within? Or should I cut my losses and quietly slip away with dignity intact? Reading through these forums, it seems even those who succeed in changing their HOAs do so only out of sheer willpower and real effort. But with less than harmonious board dynamics, maintaining peace at home became the ultimate challenge. The problem is that every single successful revolt against an oppressive HOA seems to involve some kind of Herculean effort by a small group of dedicated homeowners who manage to band together and fight against overwhelming odds. And even then, it's never a guarantee that things will improve. Sure, there are stories out there about homeowners who successfully overhauled their HOAs and turned them into functional organizations that actually served their communities. But those tales are few and far between and often seem like outliers rather than inspiring examples. What's more concerning is that even when reform does happen, it usually requires some kind of dramatic confrontation or crisis that forces everyone's hand. Maybe there's a scandal involving embezzlement or abuse of power by current board members. Maybe there's a lawsuit filed against the HOA by multiple homeowners. Or maybe some judge intervenes because things got so out of hand irresponsible. In other words, change rarely happens organically within these stifling systems. Only under duress do people pry themselves loose from groupthink long enough to consider reforms. And honestly, that scares me, because where does that leave someone like me, who genuinely wants change but doesn't want drama nor confrontations? I've already said too much aloud during meetings. You can tell some folks view me as that troublemaker newbie delivering unsolicited opinions during their sacred meetings. Don't get me wrong, some nice individuals do exist within our ranks. Those private conversations off meeting records show promise. Gentle souls quietly counting down days till retirement who all want to make things better. Still got soul left. But when push comes to shove and agendas clash, that healthy dose of reality bites hard. Reality prevails. What if instead of rebellions and power struggles, we could reform our broken systems through sheer force of reason? Can sanity persist amidst dinosaurs' stubborn refusal to adapt? I kept mulling over these thoughts as I tried to navigate my new role on the board. Every meeting felt like stepping into a time warp where logic and progress were foreign concepts. The older members clung to their outdated ways like barnacles on a ship, resistant to any suggestion of change. One day, we were discussing the budget for neighborhood improvements. I suggested we allocate some funds to create a community garden. It seemed like a simple, beneficial idea, but you would have thought I proposed building a spaceship with the way they reacted. One member, Mrs. Jenkins, looked at me like I had sprouted a second head. A garden? Who's going to take care of it? What if someone plants something inappropriate? We can't control that, she exclaimed, her voice rising with every word. I tried to explain that it would be a community effort, that we could set guidelines for what could be planted. but it was like talking to a brick wall. They were more concerned about potential problems than the benefits. Another time, I suggested updating our communication methods. Most of the board relied on printed newsletters and flyers. I proposed we start using email and a community website to keep everyone informed more efficiently. The resistance was immediate and fierce. Not everyone uses email, Mr. Thompson argued. What if people don't check the website? The old ways have worked just fine for years. I pointed out that many residents, especially younger ones, preferred digital communication, and that it could save us money on printing costs. But they dismissed my ideas, preferring to stick to their tried-and-true methods, no matter how outdated. As weeks turned into months, my frustration grew. It wasn't just the stubbornness of the board members. It was the realization that meaningful change would be an uphill battle. The more I pushed for progress, the more they dug in their heels. One particularly heated meeting revolved around a homeowner's request to install solar panels. The board was divided, with the older members staunchly opposed. They argued it would ruin the neighborhood's aesthetic and set a dangerous precedent. I argued passionately for the benefits of renewable energy and the positive impact it could have on property values. But my words fell on deaf ears. The request was denied, and the homeowner was left frustrated and disheartened. In the midst of all this, I began to form alliances with a few like-minded individuals. Sarah, a young mom with 2 kids, shared my vision for a more modern, inclusive community. James, a tech-savvy retiree, was eager to see us embrace new technologies. We started meeting outside of official board meetings, brainstorming ways to bring about change. We knew it wouldn't be easy, but we were determined to make a difference. Our first small victory came when we managed to get approval for a neighborhood block party. It was a simple idea, a chance for residents to come together, socialize, and build a sense of community. The older board members were skeptical, but we pushed through their objections and organized the event. The block party was a huge success. Families came out in droves, kids played games, and neighbors who had never spoken before struck up conversations. It was a glimpse of what our community could be, vibrant, connected, and supportive. Buoyed by this success, we continued our efforts. We launched a community Facebook group, providing a platform for residents to share news, ask questions, and connect with one another. Despite initial resistance, the group quickly grew in popularity, proving that there was a demand for more modern communication methods. Slowly but surely, we began to see cracks in the old guard's resistance. Some of the older board members started to come around, realizing that not all change was bad. They saw the positive impact our efforts were having on the community and began to support some of our initiatives. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were still plenty of heated debates and frustrating setbacks. The snitch walks continued, much to my chagrin, and petty disputes over minor violations still dominated many meetings. Despite these challenges, I remained committed to my goal. I knew that real change would take time and persistence. And while the road ahead was still uncertain, I was hopeful that with continued effort and collaboration, we could transform our HOA into a force for good. Looking back, I'm grateful for the experiences that led me to join the board. They opened my eyes to the complexities and challenges of community governance. More importantly, they showed me the power of perseverance and the importance of standing up for what you believe in. So, for anyone out there dealing with a dysfunctional HOA, know that you're not alone. Change is possible, but it won't happen overnight. It takes patience, determination, and a willingness to work with others, even when it feels like an uphill battle. In the end, it's worth it. Because when you see your community come together, when you see positive changes taking root, you realize that all the struggles and frustrations were just stepping stones on the path to a better future. And that, my friends, is a victory worth fighting for. There are some people who have made HOAs better, but it is rare. The retired group has a lot of free time and want to believe that they matter. You have to get enough people on the board to be able to outvote the crappy people. It is a lot of work. You could also look up Robert's Rules of Order and use those to slow down meetings. Personally, I've got better things to do, so I am getting a home without an HOA. It's a great option if you have the money and can find the home near you. I have an neighbor who used to constantly complain, trespass, and harass us until we sued them as a last resort and won. We also have an HOA board who let their buddies on our other side of us install a standby generator 10 feet from our house. We had to threaten to sue both the neighbor and board to do their jobs before it was finally removed. Now I have the neighbor taking his constant complaining to the board who are scared crapless to even talk to us. I call this a win. edit for details. I was also on the HOA board for a few years, so I got an inside view of HOA, neighborhood politics, and learned the CCRs inside and out. I highly recommend folks living in an HOA volunteering for board ACC officers committees. It's a huge advantage to know the rules of the game, plus there's always the PR game that has to be played when issues arise. Our current board exists to do as little work as possible, so I've used their lack of knowledge and motivation against them many times, and ensure I don't give the neighbor any excuses for a legitimate complaint. I wish I had something like ChatGPT back then, to simplify CCRs into common dude.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.